This is where we finished up with the falling rain effect. If I just switch this off, you can see that's what we started off with. There it is. You will find the full video for this on my website. But the picture itself has been sitting in my working folder, and I keep looking at it. I keep thinking there's more of a picture here that's dying to get out. The one thing that's really holding things back are these blue railings. Now, okay, I can't get rid of them. I can't sort of clone them out. Well, I could, but health and safety reasons, people would be falling over, so we can't do that. But there is another way around it. If we just come down to this icon here, the adjustment layers, we're going to go straight down to hue saturation. Now when hue saturation opens, I'm going to pick up this icon, which is the finger with the arrow going through it, coming down, clicking in this area here, and it is telling me it is blue. You'll notice I've still got the finger with the arrow going through it. If you're using any other version of Photoshop, just select the color you're working with, then move in the saturation slider. I can move the cursor itself across. We're going to go into the -100. We've taken all the saturation out of that blue, but we've still got some traces of cyan in the picture. We're going to pick up the eyedropper tool with the plus symbol. Coming in, I just simply need to click down. You may have noticed those sliders open up a bit. The blue has now gone out. Just looking closely, I can see a little bit of contamination of the magenta kind in our picture here. So again, just going to touch down onto that, and there it is. That's just about gone. You may have noticed those sliders opening up a bit further. Command 0, Control 0. Looking better already. Just switching off the eye icon, if we take a look, there it is. That's with the railings, that's without the railings, but it has moved some of the, or removed even some of the other areas of blue from our picture. But we're not going to worry, because with an adjustment layer we also get a mask. So coming across, we got black as a foreground color, which is just what we need. We're going to pick up the paintbrush. There's our paintbrush. I've got a very handy sort of small brush. So just make sure your brush is small enough. Going to make it a bit bigger by using the right hand square bracket. So that's the right hand square bracket, just coming over this area here, just to make sure I get all those blues in that may be lurking underneath around this area here, over the top of this blue umbrella and over his coat, because that's a bit sort of purpley, up over the area of the flag, which I know has got a bit of blue in it, down around this part. Doesn't hurt to go over the rest of the picture as well. Just popping this in out of the way and coming down round there and round that car, and there it is. So that's now brought back the blues into the picture. There's something else though that I want to do, and we can still pop into this. If I just double click on it, that's the saturation for the blues. Let's come in for the lightness, and if we just take a look now, if I drop this down, you can see it's just the railings we're darkening down. Or I can make them a bit brighter, and I'm just going to brighten them up to that area there, so where they just begin to blend in with the picture. That looks pretty good, so let's leave it like that. Right, for the next stage I want to darken down areas of the picture around here and down around the road surface, give those reflections just a little bit more bite. I'm using CS5. Yes, I could use the dodge and burn tool, which in CS5 are now non-destructive, but I like to work in layers, and I like to keep things fully adjustable, so I'm going to use a method that you can use in all versions of Photoshop, and that's simply by putting in a new empty layer. This is totally non-destructive as well. There it is, layer 2. We're going to change the blend mode to soft lights. So that's working with soft lights. There it is. In fact, I'm going to double click and I'm going to put in D and B, short for dodge and burn. Right, coming across. We need to make sure we got the default colors, so press D on the keyboard. So that's giving us black as a foreground color. This is going to be our burn. Got a paintbrush. I'm just going to right click just to make sure I've got a soft edge brush. So I've got a soft edge brush. There it is. There's the size of the brush as well. Pressing enter or return will remove that panel. The opacity at 100% is way too high, and I mean way too high. If I do that, you can see it darkens it right down. Using Command Z, Control Z to undo that. We need to drop this down into relatively low figures, so I'm going to press, if you use the sort of above your number or letter keys, you've got number keys, press 1 and it takes you down to 10% for the opacity. Press 2, 20, 3, 30, etc. If you press 1 and 5, gives you 15%. I'm going to come in with that. As I said, you do need low numbers with this, got 15%, so around this area here, just quickly over the top. Just burning down, darkening down this area, like the old days of using darkroom techniques. So we're now sort of dodging down areas, burning down, dodging down. Dodging will bring back, don't worry, we'll come to that in a minute, as I just mutter away to myself there. But coming through here, that looks pretty good. If I just switch this on and off, you can see the difference that's making to the picture already. That looks pretty good. Just making that a little bit darker like this, making that umbrella there a little bit darker, back of the car darker there. And if you just take a look at the layer itself, you can just see a little bit of grey going on there. That's all we're working. It is completely sort of non-destructive. We're not destructing the image at all. I'm going to press the tab key. That's going to remove all of the panels, and I'm just going to press X, which is going to give me the white. So I'm now coming in and just looking at that, that's just a little bit too fierce. Using Command Z, Control Z, if I just do that, you can see the way it's just a little bit too fierce there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to drop this down to 10% by pressing 1 on the keyboard. Perhaps if I brought that back, there it is, now we can see it. Let's pop this in out of the way. So there it is, and we can come through, and now we can just begin to brighten up this area here. So now we're dodging, we're brightening this up around that part there. Just bring that bus back, that little bit there would be pretty good as well. Let's take a look at this now. Coming into the layers panel, switching it on and off, job done. Looks pretty good. Right, so we've got a yellow umbrella, we've got a blue umbrella, we've got a dark umbrella there. How about adding a little bit of colour to our dark umbrella? We're going to put in a new empty layer again. We're going to come to the blend modes. We're going to change the blend mode to colour. We're going to come across, clicking on the foreground colour brings up our colour picker, and you can select whatever colour you want. I'm going to go for a nice dark red, something in that area there looks pretty good. Click OK to that. So there it is, there's our nice dark red. I've got the paintbrush. It's quite a large brush, as you can see, in sort of size to our umbrella, so I'm just going to right click. I'm going to drop the size of my brush right the way down to that size there, and I'm going to drop the hardness down as well. This will just help sort of when it comes to the edge, painting around the edge. Pressing enter or return removes that panel. Now we can sort of dive into the picture using Command or Control spacebar, and well, yeah, it's a bit faint. That's because my opacity I've forgotten and I've left it at 10%. Press 0 and it goes to 100%. There it is, there's my nice red umbrella. As we come in through with this, we can just, I'm just going to quickly do this. I know you'll do a much better job, but using a relatively hard edge brush with that just helps to go over the edge. You can see you've still got all the contours and all the bits and pieces of the umbrella underneath it. If there's areas you want to tidy up, just pick up the eraser tool and just come around and you can just sort of tidy those up there. Just give a bit of a harder edge to it. Pressing B on the keyboard brings back your brush tool and you can just go around the rest of the umbrella. But there it is. And if you think it looks just a little bit too bright, well, it is probably a new umbrella, you can just reduce the opacity down. You can see the way you can blend that in. Don't forget you can use whatever colour you want using Command 0, Control 0 to go back to fit on screen. Let's just bring that back into that sort of area there. That looks pretty good. That's more like a finished image now. That's more like the sort of thing that's yep, I'll be happy with. One other sort of final point, if we just zoom out a bit, what I'd like to do is finish off with I just want to be able to hold the eye in, and I'm going to do this by using a vignette. So picking up the elliptical marquee tool, dragging it over the picture like this would be pretty good. Now I got the sort of the new selection, so I can just move this around into that position there would be ideal. Dropping down again, going for hue saturation, and we're going to drop straight down to the lightness slider. Now I was going to put a dark vignette, which would move it to the left. So if you want to put dark vignette, move it to the left. Want to put a light vignette, move it to the right. Something like this. You're thinking it's on the inside. Yes, I know. There it is there. Just use Command I or Control I to invert it, or with the mask, just click on the invert button. Now you can use feather in any other version of Photoshop. Go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and just blur it away to your heart's content until you see just the sort of look you're after if we come back to this, we can now pop in again and just perhaps sort of bring up this a little bit more, drop it down. That's a dark vignette. That's what I was originally going to do, and for some reason my slider shot across and I thought, well, I like that. So yep, looks pretty good like that with a lighter vignette. There it is. Don't forget, you can pick up the move tool. You can move this around. You can place that any way you want to sort of place it on your picture. So move it around into the area you've got. And there it is. If I just pop this onto a black background, there's our finished image. Let's open the whole thing up using Command 0, Control 0, and Tab to remove all the tools. There it is. Job done. Oh, one final thing. Don't forget. That is what we started off with. Just sitting on it for a little while, got a good idea. There it is. Go on, give it a try. Until the next time, happy imaging and take care.